In a time long ago, in a utopian society where everything was perfectly balanced, there lived a scientist named Dr. Julian. Dr. Julian was a brilliant but rebellious man who constantly sought to push the boundaries of what was deemed acceptable by the norms of his society. While most scientists focused on traditional research and development, Dr. Julian was fascinated by the potential of genetic engineering and the manipulation of DNA. His experiments began innocently enough, as he sought to create new species of plants and animals that were more resilient and efficient than their natural counterparts. But as he delved deeper into the world of genetics, Dr. Julian became obsessed with the idea of reshaping human DNA itself. He believed that by altering the genetic code of humans, he could create a race of beings that were stronger, smarter, and more capable than ever before. Dr. Julian's experiments were conducted in secret, hidden away in his underground laboratory far from prying eyes. He worked tirelessly, day and night, experimenting with different combinations of DNA and genetic sequences. And finally, after months of trial and error, he achieved a breakthrough that would change the course of history. Using a revolutionary new technique he had developed, Dr. Julian was able to manipulate the genetic code of male and female humans, altering their DNA in such a way that their biological characteristics began to shift. Men started to exhibit traditionally feminine traits, becoming more nurturing and empathetic, while women began to display more traditionally masculine traits, becoming more assertive and competitive. At first, the changes were subtle, hardly noticeable to the outside world, but as time went on, the effects became more pronounced, and society began to unravel. People no longer knew how to categorize themselves or others, as traditional gender roles and expectations were thrown into disarray. The confusion and chaos that ensued were unprecedented. Gender norms were shattered, relationships were strained, and social structures began to crumble. The once harmonious society was now divided and in turmoil, with people questioning their identities and struggling to come to terms with the changes that had been wrought upon them. Some blamed Dr. Julian for the chaos that had been unleashed, accusing him of playing God and tampering with forces beyond his control. Others viewed him as a visionary ahead of his time, a pioneer in the field of genetic engineering who had dared to challenge the status quo. As the world around him descended into turmoil, Dr. Julian remained holed up in his laboratory, haunted by the consequences of his actions. He had never intended for things to spiral out of control in such a way, and now he was faced with the realization that his quest for scientific advancement had come at a great cost. In the end, Dr. Julian disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only his groundbreaking research and a society forever changed by his experiments. And so the world was left to grapple with the consequences of his actions, struggling to find a way forward in a world where nothing was as it seemed.